Yo, 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 what's up, YouTube? What's up, Facebook land? It's your boy JD, aka Mr. December, and we are back with another live stream, y'all. Man, How y'all doing tonight? I know it was just Valentine's Day. I hope y'all's pockets ain't hurting too bad. I hope y'all didn't go out and spend too much money. However, I do hope that you spent Valentine's Day with the ones that you love. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we all about over here, right? Love and relationships. And before we get into the live stream, I would like to give a big shout out to all of the new family members that we have on the channel. And while I'm welcoming the new ones, I need everybody to help me. I want to reach our goal of 2,000 subscribers by the end of the week. Last time I checked, I think we were only a little over 100 more to go to reach 2,000. Know it's a big goal, but I think we can do it. 2,000 subscribers by the end of the week. And how do y'all help me achieve that? First of all, I need you to like the video. Second of all, I need you to engage in the comments down below. The third thing I need you to do is to check and make sure that you are subscribed. And if you have not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And then finally, if you are getting any value, okay, if you are getting any value out of the discussions that we have over here, please share it with somebody else because I guarantee that somebody else can get value out of it too. So, y'all, I'm not here by myself. Valentine's Day just passed. I'm feeling pretty good. It's Black History Month. And I know y'all tired of looking at my face up here. You know what I'm saying? So I got some assistants with me in the building tonight. First of all, we've got the one and the only Alabama church girl. What's up? Say something to the people, Val.
Beep, beep, toot, toot. Hey, good people, it's your Alabama church girl here. First, giving honor to God, who is the head of my life. To all the leaders, saints, and friends, welcome, welcome, welcome on in. And as you enter the building, please make sure to touch that like button and say, hey, I see you. Hey,
Yeah.
JD.
What's up, Alabama church girl? How are you?
Life is good. Life is lovely.
Good, good. I hear you. I hear you. Well, guess what?
What's that?
We're not by ourselves. We still got one more person.
Is that
One
my
more.
friend?
Yeah, it is your friend and mine and yours that is watching on the live stream tonight. We have the one and the only, the lovely Antoinette. Say
Hey.
something to the people, Antoinette.
Hey y'all, hey, greetings. As always, it's a pleasure to be here. Happy Love Day, happy Black History Month Day, even though we celebrate each other 365.
Mhm.
And as everybody in the family is saying, as you're coming in and you're getting in our circle of trust and love and community, like, share, subscribe. Let's get this discussion on and popping.
Oh yeah, we got a good discussion for y'all tonight. And as you can see by the title and the thumbnail, y'all, it is once again Therapeutic Tuesday. And for those of you that are new, Therapeutic Tuesday is something that we do ever so often because while we're bringing y'all the content that y'all so love, every once in a while we got to get some stuff off our chest. You know what I'm saying? It's some stuff that grinds our gears, as we can say, right? It's some stuff that really irks our nerves and anything else we can think of, right? So we're gonna get those things off of our chest tonight. So we're gonna kind of freestyle a little bit, and we're going to let the ladies go first, okay? Because I am a gentleman. So tonight I want to let the ladies go first to, allow them to get some things off of their chest. You know what I'm saying? So who's going first?
Go
Antoinette.
ahead.
Antoinette is on you.
All right. Well, the fire is starting. So Therapeutic Tuesday, which we we need it. We need it. So Black History Month, being in the present moment. Let's tap into schools, right? Um, while we were growing up, at least we got a little bit of, hey, um, what do you know about Black History Month? The Martin Luther King I Have a Dream speech, the maybe a little sprinkle of Frederick Douglass here and there, or maybe a little bit of Malcolm there, and a little touch of Sojourner Truth and Harriet Tubman, and that's about it, right? So, being that we had that little bit, and then you have your elders that we used to talk to. Nowadays, okay, Black History Month is just basically being, I don't know, extinct, non existent, and in irking my nerves. That is a recent incident because we just celebrated Love Day, right? Even though you should do that every day, self love, couple love, romance love, whatever. Um, it is claimed as Friendship Day at some of the schools down here. And I'm like, Friendship Day? Well, what about Black history, knowledge, something? Can you give me something, at least something a week, or even to recognize the Black students in the school? No? Okay, because then that's teaching us maybe a sprinkle of CRT. So we know CRT only came about because of political aspects and paths that people are trying to turn things into something else, right? So where are we going with this? We're going with this and understanding where is history coming from? Are we actually having these conversations, or is it something that's just being masked? And when it comes up across on social media, everybody wants to pay attention. So as y'all see, JD just popped something up. We're going to talk about this because it's important, and I have something to say after this video plays.
This kind of comment has come up a lot in my video on Ruby Bridges, and my answer is no, I didn't learn about this in school. I learned about integration to a certain extent, but we really only learned about the Little Rock Nine in Arkansas a few years before Ruby Bridges. I didn't learn about Ruby Bridges in Louisiana. I didn't learn that she's barely retirement age right now today at 67 years old. I didn't learn that as a 6-year-old little girl walked into school, that there were grown white women hysterically crying and fainting as a result of their racism, that a 6-year-old little girl was walking into a school. I didn't learn that they threw rocks at a 6-year-old girl and her mother. I didn't learn that 4 federal marshals had to walk a 6-year-old into her elementary school so that the white people wouldn't hurt her. I didn't learn that white people put a little black baby doll inside of a coffin and paraded it around as a 6-year-old little girl tried to go to school. I didn't learn that Ruby Bridges couldn't eat the lunch provided by the school. She had to eat the lunch that her parents provided for her because they were scared that someone was going to try to poison her. I didn't learn about the white adults and the white children outside her school singing "Glory, Glory, Segregation, the South will rise again." I didn't learn that 500 white kids were pulled out of that school because Ruby Bridges went there. I didn't learn about how grown white adults yelled slurs and threats at a 6-year-old little girl. I didn't learn that the black children had to apply to go to the white schools that the white kids could just get to go to. I didn't learn that out of the 137 black first graders that applied to go to integrated schools, only 5 of them were accepted, and Ruby was the only one accepted to go to the elementary school that she went to. I didn't learn that in retaliation for Ruby going to an integrated school, her grandparents were evicted from their farm. I didn't learn that when Ruby Bridges was in the 1st grade, there was only one teacher at that school who was willing to teach her, Barbara Henry. And I didn't learn that for that entire school year, in the 1st grade, Ruby Bridges was alone. No other kids in that class. In class, alone. Ate lunch, alone. On the playground, alone. All year, every day. Didn't miss a day. So, no, I did not learn about Ruby Bridges in school. And I doubt that many of us really learned about Ruby Bridges in school. And if some people have their way, Black history will get even more and more diluted in public education. This
All right, Antoinette, it's back on you.
Y'all, so one thing that popped out was she kept saying, I didn't learn. No, I didn't learn. No, I didn't. I. We don't learn these facts in school. We do not open our mouths and speak with our elders in order to learn this history. And my question is that, okay, Google is just a touch away. So are you just pulling up little Black history known facts and then you just going hard on that one thing? Because Ruby been going around for the past 7 months strong on the internet. Most of us been known this since we came out the womb because our family talks about it. And in understanding history, especially our history, a lot of stuff is verbal. We had scribes, okay, and it got passed down by word of mouth. And the fact that you are, so passionate. I'm loving the passion, really I am. And I say that with love, but I also say that sarcastically because with social media, everybody is able to put on a facade. And it's easy for you to be so passionate about something, and then it's so easy to turn the phone and the camera off and then to do your F boy ways. Period. You can make stuff look good because everybody's trying to get likes. You're trying to get what you need in order to get what you want. But that's not the reality, that you understand the importance of history, that you understand the information that you're giving forth on social media, right? So this leads us back to talking to our elders. People are saying, oh, that happened so long ago. Honey, I could call my cousin. Hell, I talked to my mama. They went through that. What makes the grass grow? Blood, not water. And if you look at all the property, especially in the South, where there is a lot of blood shed, that property is very cheap, but is very rich in what you could grow on it and what you could build on it, because it's a lot of our bodies and our blood that was shed on it. So these are a lot of things that history via Google is not going to give you, and a lot of history that we all are aware of, but don't speak about it because nobody really wanted to listen. And is it the fact that everybody's now quote unquote listening because it's easier and it easily accessible and it looks good? Or are you willing to get the truth from the horse's mouth? And this is where we need to start tapping into our community, our elders, and actually understanding the truth. Because as most of our elders are transitioning, we need to know so that way we're not repeating the same cycle, but we could have the strength and confidence to approach those that are keeping our information in books that we don't want to read. And this is part of my Therapeutic Tuesday. So what do y'all got to say about that?
You know what? I was just sitting here listening, and especially the fact that you said that you could go ask your mother about these things. How did she? Or she said Ruby Bridges was barely retirement age now.
67.
That's almost the same age as
67.
my mother. My
Exactly.
aunts and my uncles, they remember. My granddaddy is in his 90s. You know what I'm saying? And he can tell me, and thank God he's still in his right mind and remembers a lot of stuff. He can tell a lot of stories about the racism that he experienced growing up, and having to do extra and go the extra mile to earn a living and provide for his children. My grandmother, God rest her soul, she did a lot of domestic work for our Caucasian brothers and sisters, and did it for a long time. You know what I'm saying? So I'm 35 years old, and
Mhm.
that's just my mother and then my grandparents. That's not a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? And I think that um, part of the reason is that we don't get a lot of Black history is because I don't think that the powers that be want that stigma to be on the United States. It's all right if it's on another country, but if it comes to us, it's a problem. And I think that a lot of stuff that they want to sweep under the rug, and the more that we try to speak out on topics like this, the more we're going to get shadow banned. They don't want this kind of stuff to go out. All they want you to do is say Black History Month and move on. If even that much anymore, you know what I'm saying? And I think that another thing that you said is absolutely correct, because we need something to pass down to the next generation. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And even in our churches and in our families, I'll use my own family for example. With this generation, we have a lot of history that's being lost because the older people tried, to pass that stuff down to us, and we didn't care anything about it. A lot of us didn't, and then it's getting even less now. The generation after us, they definitely don't care anything about it. You know what I'm saying? And the ones that do, shout out to them, big ups to them. But I think that our communities would come back closer together if we had a deeper understanding of our community and exactly where we came from, and not try to put it under the rug. And I'm not sure this sister that we watched in the video, I'm not sure of her background and nationality or whatever, her ethnicity or anything like that. But it's gonna take people that are non-black to help. You know what I'm saying? And to bring forth a little bit more awareness. And we got to do something about the history books too. The history books are slowly starting to, erase our history. You know,
But the
even with
history books don't have our history. They have
mm,
slavery
right, right, right.
sections of what they claim
Mm,
as our history. But our history books are literally in our books. The Toni Morrisons, the Zora Neale Hurston's, literally Frederick Douglass's book. Our books, education and the education of the Negro. Our books have our history. We are not to continue to go to the babysitters club, i.e., school, and depend on them to give them for them to give us, excuse me, our history, because they're not going to be accountable. They're not accountable for that. And when that happens and you approach them with that, you get white women, white men tears in fear. And then that's when we our light starts to down a little bit more in their eyes, because you're now starting to get that spark.
mm. Alabama church girl, what do you? I don't want to keep talking. What do you have to add to the
Listen, I have
conversation?
so much to add. I was waiting for you to tag me in. Because
Hey,
I have a different experience, Antoinette. My mother was one of the first Black students to integrate the public high school in my hometown. My mom, she passed 2020 at the age of 60.
mm,
I have a uncle on my dad's side. I just learned at his passing the year prior that he picked cotton. A uncle. My
mm,
grandmother picked cotton. She was a sharecropper and did domestic work similar to what you were sharing about your grandmother
mm,
for Caucasian families. Not just that, but was a midwife and had Caucasian babies at her breast.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I know of those things in my family's history. I know of those stories, but it's a lot that my mother experienced that she would not share and refused to allow me to probe her and question what happened because of the trauma.
Mhm.
And that's something that we don't want to deal with. And it's really plaguing our community. The trauma of the history, the trauma of the thoughts. I don't know what she experienced, but I know she always told me, I don't want to come to Montgomery. I can't stay in Montgomery. Whatever happened in Montgomery, it cut her to her core. That she never wanted to be. And I used to, get offended. Mama, your children live here. She did not. She honestly did not want to come. But it makes me think of this is why the Bible is always going to be the best book for me, because in that literature, you read the story of how the children, God's children, were delivered out of slavery, out of Egypt, and they came across the Red Sea. And after they came out of that slavery, he told them to write this down and teach it to your children's children so that they will always remember that I'm the one that delivered them. I know that everybody don't believe in the same religion, but I do believe that most people believe there is a God.
Mm-hmm.
Most, I didn't say all, because I know that there are some that don't. I do believe that most people believe there is a higher power. And when we know that there's something bigger than us that delivers us out of a situation, we do need to tell the story. Even when we know we went through the story. Because just think about it. That was not the only time that he told them to write this down and make sure you teach your children's children when they put the blood across the door. And he said, I'm coming through. Anybody that's been messing with you, baby, I got you. Because I'm your God. And I'm about to show everybody in the world that you my people. And get in your house, and this is what I want you to do. If the blood is on your doorpost, I'm gonna pass over. But if you mess around and don't trust my word and don't put that blood on that door, I'm sorry for your children. I'm sorry for this man, but I didn't know you. I love humor, but you get my drift. But after that experience, even after the Passover, he told them, make sure you teach these young children that I was the one that delivered you. God's people have always been in an oppressed state. If you begin to read that Old Testament, time after time after time after time, God had to deliver his people out of oppression. So I don't understand why we don't know in 2022 that we're God's people. Who out of the whole world has been more oppressed than these dark-skinned people on the earth? Why are we not telling and teaching the stories? Even beyond the trauma, we have to. It's imperative for us to tell our children the story. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't know anything about Ruby Bridges either until I was an adult. Y'all, my hometown is 40 minutes away from Tuskegee. I grew up until I turned 18, 17, because I went to college at 17. I went to Tuskegee University my freshman year with an Air Force ROTC scholarship and an honors biochem scholarship, a couple of academic scholarships. I went into the science program and into the Air Force ROTC. Guess what? How dumb did I feel? I graduated the top 10% of my class in honors. Come to this college with honor scholarships. And how dumb did I feel that I didn't know anything about the Tuskegee Airmen? I didn't know anything about Daniel Chappie James. I didn't. I didn't know anything about Booker T. Washington. It was not taught to me. The only reason I knew about George Washington Carver is because I personally picked up a book and read about him and what he did with the peanut and the sweet potatoes. I didn't even know about the syphilis experiment. And here I am with aspirations to be a doctor at Tuskegee University and didn't know. It was not taught to me. And I don't fault them folk at the public school for not teaching me. I honestly look to my people like, this our history. Why didn't you tell me? That's the way I feel. That's my experience. And from that moment forward, I vowed to always know my history. Don't ever look foolish like this ever again. You know when I learned about Ruby Bridges? When I began teaching my son about Black history. I wanted him to know about everything and everybody. And to this day, I'm still buying books. I'm still studying. Because it's important to me. It's important to me, first of all, to know myself. Because if you don't know your history, you begin to repeat the history. If you don't know where the trap holes are, you fall into them. If you don't know the patterns of people, then you get blindsided when they do the same tactic. It's just a new day. And honestly, that's where I feel like we're falling into. I have heard the critical race theory conversation and the debate around it and the push forward. But I'm going to be very honest with y'all. Don't pull my Black card because I'm just keeping it real with you. I feel like it doesn't matter if they don't ever want to teach it to our children. We should have an agenda within our own community to teach our children. Because you know what? There's another video I sent you, JD, where there's a white male talking about, hey, you begin to teach this and they're going to reveal themselves because they were so bold and brazen enough to take pictures. They took pictures of the hatefulness that they did. They made sure to document their hate. And I understand that we didn't have the privileges of having cameras and developing film and all of that. But at the same time, this was always there. This was always there. These were there. And it was in here. And somebody should have shared. Amen.
Let the church say amen. It's a lot. It's a lot, to unpack here. But I want to highlight our other Antoinette in the building. Thank you so much for joining us and for your comments. She says the history book can change when we have people who are influential that are actual shot callers. We don't have anyone in those positions to call BS when they attempted to whitewash our history. Now, I have a lot to say about this because, I was on this. This has been several months ago, but I called up to Lapeef, and we were talking about somebody made the comment that Black culture is trash, which I don't agree with. Right? I'm not gonna call any names, but they were saying that Black culture is trash, because of the music and a lot of the dancing, the rap videos or whatever. And one of the young ladies on the panel was saying that Black people are not the ones that consume that, or not the ones that buy that the most, right? That was the argument, in which that is true. I went and looked up some of the statistics myself, and that is true. However, I still have to put some fault to us, because even though they pay for us to make the music, and whoever consumes it, we don't have to make it. We don't have to sell out to make $1 all the time. You know what I'm saying? And that was the point that I was trying to make. Regardless of who consumes it, we don't have to make it. You know what I'm saying? It's just like how much money did Dave Chappelle leave on the table? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because he didn't want to wear a dress. He refused to do it. And now look
Right.
at him. Why is it that we feel like a lot of our generation, our younger generation, feel like if they make it, all they can do to make it is either be an athlete or an entertainer? I
Because they don't
remember,
understand survival.
right, exactly, and you know, everything is like, you know, is not enough to be successful and earn a good living. But we think that you're not successful unless you're rich and famous and earning millions of dollars. You know, there's a lot of other ways that you can be successful. And let me not. Alabama Church Girl, did you want me to pull up that video now that you referenced about the pictures?
That would be great. I want to add something also to the conversation regarding the wealth in our community. Sometimes we neglect to realize the power of the black dollar. You know, the white man's water is always wetter. And we overlook the fact that their water is wetter because we're the one that's sprinkling it. We're the one that's wetting the water. We're always taking our dollar out of the community and spending it over there because, you know, their product look better. If we turn within and look within, inventors, creators, entertainers, athletes, look within, and we spend within, then they're gonna have to come over here at some point. I was just having a conversation with one of my superiors on the job about hair. I came in and my hair was different. She was like, "Oh, your hair is so pretty." And we just got into a conversation about my hair. And she was like, "I just never knew it took so much and it cost so much." And I was like, "Yeah, that's why you see all the Asians with beauty supply stores and nail salons in our community, because they know that we're going to spend that money to make sure we beautify ourselves." But I would love to see us spending it with us. I really would. Honestly and truly, I really would.
And if I may piggyback on that, in order to look within ourselves, in order to spend our money within too, we have to understand the foundation. Again, it takes, like you said, Val, you independently took a book to read up on the history to understand. So if we don't understand within and where we're coming from, like Operation Breadbasket, you know, you had the Black Panther Party who provided for the community. We understand that ghetto, even though that quote unquote describes us in Ratchet, these were titles that weren't originally made for us. So, yeah, we do have to look deeper inside ourselves as a community, but we need to share what's inside, because even though we're all having, you know, our therapy sessions, those one-on-ones, we're not sharing that, because even though we're trying to repair ourselves within, dealing with all the generational damage and secrets and experiences that we are still learning from, um, if we don't share it, we won't know about it.
Right.
So
And
we have to get out of that.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, babe.
It makes me think about just what was in the news cycle a few weeks ago with Whoopi Goldberg and the Jewish community. They knew their history so well that when she misspoke, they got her together real quick. And we have to get to that place where we know our history so well that when somebody misspeaks or try to tell an untruth about our history, we get them together real quick. Homeboy, let me pull your 2 weeks on the job. Come sit down.
But we got to support the people that do, because instead of just giving that person that side eye, and I say that because I am one of them soapbox people that's like, you wrong, and y'all experienced that when we first met. I'm like, no, y'all are wrong. This is what it is. And if we don't have that support when we are working as a collective, then of course it's not going to be shared. Of course, we're not going to build our strength. Because, short story, real quick, even in high school, you know, as we were bringing it back to Black History Month, my high school was like, oh, yeah, no, we're not, my junior year, we're not going to recognize Black History Month. And this is a Catholic school, y'all. Okay, so what did I do? I went around and was pulling names. I was like, listen, y'all, this is important. So can y'all sign my little thing?
Come
And of
on,
course,
activist.
everybody wanted to look at me crazy, but I'm like, y'all know at the end of the day, it's important. It's important.
You're right. And support is important. We have to know that we have each other back. I am my brother's keeper. I am my sister's keeper. That one band, one sound.
Mhm.
Because whenever they sent one man out around the press tour to discuss that Whoopi Goldberg situation, but they were all on one accord.
Mhm.
They were all on one accord. You were absolutely wrong. I don't think you need to be canceled, but you were absolutely wrong. And all we need to get to that place to where we know it so well and we support our leadership or spokesperson that we want to go out, that we're together no matter what they say. Get that person
Mhm.
together and we got your back. We're here with you.
Right.
That's the way the Montgomery bus boycott worked. Is everybody got on board. They're wrong. And none of us gonna ride. None of us. We all gonna sacrifice something because it's gonna benefit all of us in the end. And I don't know, the propaganda has been so effective in our community to make us believe that we will absolutely fail if we do it again.
You know what? I think about that a lot because there is definitely strength in numbers. When I think about a lot of times, I don't know if y'all know, but I pastor a church in historic Lowndes County. The march from Selma to the Capitol
In Lowndes County.
went straight past where my church is, and I a lot of times, almost every Sunday morning, I think about how those people, just the long drive from Montgomery to Lowndes County. I think about how those people, our ancestors, sacrificed to do that for something, and why can't we do it again? I think that's why they don't want us to know our history, because if we realize how much power we really got, we might start turning some of this stuff around. We might start turning the world upside down. But
And we
Mhm.
could.
and
We could.
we can,
Yep.
and that goes back to I believe it was our other Antoinette that said in the comments earlier that a lot of us in this generation are privileged and lazy. And I tend to agree with that, but at the same time, you know, our parents, right? They wanted us to have better than what they did, right? And we want ours to have better than what we did, right? But at the same time, we can't let our younger people by thinking that they don't have to work for anything. You know what I'm saying? Learning the value of a dollar. And I think that a lot of our people need to be held accountable for, number one, not passing it down. Number two, not being as vocal about things. Just like Alabama church girl, you said your mother didn't want to talk about it. We got to learn how to work past that stuff, because I know a lot of us agree that hard times make us persevere, right? So we can learn something just by hearing some of that stuff, as painful, as it might be, you know.
I would even offer, JD, that it would keep us grounded to know the history of my ancestor, to know,
Yeah.
because my mom, even though, like everybody has their good and their bad, even though she didn't share all that, she was very adamant for us to be intelligent, for us to be women that did not wait around on a man to do anything for us. And she was very hard on us about Black excellence, very hard. But knowing where her and my grandmother and my great grandmother came from, it keeps me grounded, JD.
Mm.
It really does. That I know whatever I gain in this world, I didn't gain it by myself. It started way back with my ancestors. My great grandmother went through some stuff for me to be great. And that also keeps me driven. That's why I can sit on here when we talk about love and relationships and say, I am a driven woman because I know where I come from. I know how my grandmother had 7 kids by herself, and she would press hair in the kitchen to make some extra money. I know how she would go to work in the Indian people hotel, motel, whatever you want to call it, and cook in the kitchen in high heels because she was going to be a lady regardless. I stand on that foundation. And still they worked at the church. And still they cooked in the church kitchen and took care of the church community. I stand on that foundation. So that's why I got a drive that, I need somebody to match my drive. But I do feel that sharing what we've experienced help keep these children grounded. I didn't have the first time I had a real serious heart-to-heart conversation with my son was when Trayvon Martin was killed. My son experienced racism in our community. At the time, we were living in another neighborhood that was predominantly white. It was older white people. There was only one other family up the street that had children, and they were white. But they had about 5 or 6 kids. Hold on just a second, y'all. My son is calling. Sorry.
Nah, you
Well,
good.
let me piggyback off of that too. With being complacent is where we get where we get lost. And like Val was saying, if we actually pay attention to the motions of our elders, they tell you little bits and pieces of the histories and the struggles that they went through. And they do it through like different teachings and motions that they go through in the mornings and the evenings and through their routines. And at some point, as they get a little bit older, they will start telling you exactly what those experiences are. And you can start piecing together, the bigger picture. So, like I said, it's always about spending that time with your elders so you can understand what that bigger picture is. Because again, in order for us to get stronger, we do need to understand what the past experiences were. Because even though our ancestors, well, I can't even say ancestors because they still living, and experience that, and understanding what their experiences are in order to be better and to be our, what's the saying, our ancestors' wildest dreams. We still have to have that knowledge of what they went through so that way we could polish it a little bit more and sharpen our iron and that blade a little bit more, because that grass, you pass right through it and you didn't know you walk a mile and that you was bleeding out. And that's what you got to do for your enemies. Be as sharp as that blade of grass and keep on going.
Amen. I
Go ahead.
I wanted to finish what I was sharing. I'm sorry. Um, but yeah, but there was the kids of the street. I think it was like 5 or 6 kids. The couple had 5 or 6 kids. But AJ used to love to go and play basketball with them up the street. And one day he comes running home like terrified. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? You know, what in the world happened? And he says that a older white male was walking his dog past their yard and told my son, you don't live here and you need to act like you don't live here, and made AJ go home. He didn't live there either. He didn't know them kids. He just knew that my black son wasn't in their family. And from that point forward, it changed how he wanted to interact in the neighborhood. He didn't want to go up there ever again. And honestly, I didn't want him to either, because I knew that there's a possibility something could happen to my kid. And it wasn't that family, because they were welcoming, but others in the neighborhood. And I had to sit down. This was around the same time Trayvon Martin got killed. And I had to sit him down and have that conversation about him being a black male in America, in Alabama, and how that could change his status of living. And he was what, about 10 years old. It hurt me to even have to say those things. But I had to tell him. I had to begin to pour out a history other than, talking about the great astronauts and talking about the great tennis players and the great athlete. I had to tell him the dark side of Black history and open that door for him to understand. And honestly, at this age, he's what, about 17? He's 17 now. I'm still having to share so that he can stay grounded. He can stay eyes open, head on a swivel, always aware. Pay attention. Because I don't want him to get caught up. I don't.
Absolutely. And shout out to Facebook user. This is our friend Stephanie Connor. Shout out to you for being in the chat on Facebook. Thank you so much for joining us. We, like Tiffany said, we have to come back to a place to where our community is close knit. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to move on and react to some of these other videos. That we love you too, Stephanie. Thank you so much for joining us. We need to get back to a place where we have a close knit community, and I think that it starts with families again. And yeah, I know, and we're not trying to talk down on um, the ones that are active and are doing things to try to uplift the community, but you know, it's so much work that can be done, and especially with learning our history, learning about finances, getting back together in our communities, like that would be a big part of the battle right there. I just think that the power. So one of y'all mentioned the power of the black dollar. With as much spending power as black people have, if we get a dollar at 8 o'clock in the morning, black people, right, in our community, if we get a dollar at 8 o'clock in the morning, we broke by noon.
And it's so bad, JD. People make jokes about it.
And it's not. It's sad. It's
Yeah,
not funny. You know what
there
I'm
are
saying?
memes about it.
Yeah. And then you go to other communities, that same dollar that you give to them, it circulates in their community for 7 days before it goes out.
In
You
some
know?
communities, up to 30 days.
Right. And I want to know, and shout out to Tiffany and Miss T in the chat. They were saying one of the ladies from Housewives of Potomac started her own hairline, right? And I think that black women spend a lot of money on their hair. You know what I'm saying? So I think that that's something that you can support instead of going to another community and buying their hair. You know what I'm
Because my
saying?
mama
But
got a couple of them.
yeah, you see what I'm saying? So why can't we help each other out and start more black businesses and support each other more. Because I mean, let's just be honest. Who do you see mostly? With the fly nails and all that good stuff. We see our people with it the most, right?
Mhm.
So how is it that we don't see more black people doing it?
And you know what,
Because
JD? Oh my God. I don't know if you're on the Black Pages Facebook page, where a lot of black businesses share their entrepreneurship and share their business, and those who are seeking that type of business will go there to find them. I wanted to post so bad one time. I'm looking for some black nail technicians because, to be honest, I have experienced some very rude, disrespectful, and I dare to say the R word, but then it's there. And I learned just by scrolling.
ratchet.
Well, that ain't the one I was looking for, but y'all know what I'm saying. But I learned in scrolling TikTok, I'm not the only one that's been experiencing this. From that the nail technicians are predominantly Asian, that are really showing that they don't really care for us. And I don't want to spend my money with you if you don't care for me. I that's still just the way, but I still want my nails to look nice. I can do it myself. I can go in there and put some polish on. Now they're not gonna look as cute, but I can do it myself. But I really want to see more black nail technicians. I really want to see, because some kids don't want to go to school. They don't want to go to college. They're not trying to be doctors. They're trying to get a quick bag. And nails could be it. Lashes could be it. Can we not within our own community create scholarships just for them? Because we know they're going to give back to the community. We know that their business is going to bless the community. This is just a kitchen table talk that we're having right now tonight. This is for us, by us. Y'all understand what I'm saying? Am I reaching and saying these are the things that we should be looking at? I even proposed. Now, this has been a couple of years ago. I have great foresight, and I see into the future. I ain't got no crystal balls over here, but I even said, for the pastors, wink, wink. Why could we give scholarships to start businesses, for our parishioners to start businesses, and let them tie 10% off the business, because we all got together. We give out scholarships for the kids to go to school, but we got adults that want to do things that will bless the community. Am I reaching?
Not at all, because I know a couple of my homegirls, and they actually travel with doing their nails. They do all of it: nails, hair. They perfected their craft of doing all three and then some. It's just the point of getting out there and getting known, and again, the support. So if we tap back into it and go back a bit farther, every time that we have collectively gotten together to build, Black Africa Town, Tulsa, Redwood, Greenwood. What happens? The government gets scared because all the skills, the innovation, all the techniques, all these great creative juices of flowing and productivity is being harnessed and polished in the Black community. And then what do? They drop bombs on us.
But
They
see, that's why we
destroy us
need
and
to
they
tell the
kill us
story.
away.
That's why we need to
Exactly.
tell the story, because
The
Antoinette, I
punch
didn't know
bowl.
about Tulsa until maybe 6 or
Oh,
7
yeah.
years ago. I
And
didn't.
see, and then, there's the punch bowl. But then, and that's still there. I mean, these are places, literally, when I say what makes the grass grow and it is blood, we can literally go down these trails of tears because, again, hint, hint, another historic fact, including our indigenous First Nation brothers and sisters, that also included us in that journey, in that path. We have to understand the connection. And y'all, to say that it's so simple, but is yet such a far reach is serious because we need to start linking this back together. We've got to start linking it back together because we don't know. Those that of us that do know, everybody got to start listening.
Mm-hmm.
Here
Can
to
I give a
understand.
shameless plug?
Mm-hmm.
I have shared before Dr. Greg Carr and Dr. Karen Hunter. Y'all get on that. Get on that. In class with Carr on Saturdays. Get into Nubia. Y'all get on it. It's so good. It's so much rich information. These are scholars. They've been studying this for decades and they are very well versed and they're so liberal in their sharing. You know how sometimes you go to a podcast, you're looking for information, and they just give you tidbits and then ask you to come back later and patronize it. They don't even do that. They don't even ask you for a like on the video. All they are doing is just drop, as JD say,
Busted
dropping
open.
bombs, dropping knowledge, dropping knowledge. It's so much. You have to
Mm-hmm.
eat it in bits and pieces and write notes and go back like you really are in class. These are college professors that are
Yeah.
sharing information for the free. Get on it Saturday mornings. They usually come on about 11 or 12 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all, please, if you really want to know, because I mean, it's some stuff that I have knowledge of, but I didn't know in detail like they're sharing. And then Dr. Carr, come on, baby. Dr. Carr, so a lot of these people that he's telling the details on, he's had personal experience with that he could share, just like we're asking for our elders to share. He is actually sharing the details. I just, shameless plug. I'm sorry. Excuse me. I got excited.
Nah,
Important
you good.
details.
Hmm. Yeah, you
Important
good.
details.
Absolutely. Now, I'm gonna I'm gonna throw this out there, right? So, wait a minute, what happened to my screen? Y'all can still see me, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'll put that back up in a second. Okay, so you mentioned Tulsa, right? Just a few minutes ago. And what was it? Last year made the 100-year anniversary from the bombing on what was called Black Wall Street.
Correct.
Did you all know? Love him or hate him, say what you will about him. Jamal Bryant in the New Birth Baptist Church have recreated Black Wall Street in Atlanta.
Who
Well, they
is
did it in
Jamal Bryant?
conjunction. He's a pastor.
Okay, so for those of us, you got to explain. I'm just saying, you got to call a spade now, so we all could follow. Now, I do know the Black Wall Street in Atlanta, but it's been on pause because of the threats that were being made towards it. Um, but yeah, I'll digress. Go ahead.
But see, that's what I'm saying. So they're threatening to do it again, right?
Mm-hmm.
We need something, our own protection, right?
We need discipline,
And
like
discipline.
Amen.
And discipline.
And
Yeah.
we need to know the history
Mhm.
because this is not the first time we face threats, and this is why we need spirituality. Excuse
mhm,
me, I got to shamelessly plug out the Alabama church girl because I've been saying
mhm,
all this time we can say all these things about the Bible and the Christianity. Hey, I have my qualms with the religion also, but at the same time the spirituality, because their spirit has always guided us to the right place. The soul knows where to go. Hey, big man, Big Mag, I'm sorry. But the soul knows where to go. And spirit will always protect us as well. We just talked about how many times God has brought his people out of oppression, and he can do it again. But we got to get over this notion that I don't want to believe in anything. You gonna have at some point you're gonna have to believe in something higher than yourself. At some
Absolutely.
point.
Absolutely. Well, you know, and this is sorry, it made me think about if y'all watch the halftime show. I watched it on YouTube, and you saw how everybody put on their little khaki dickies and started crip walking. That everybody came together, right? Because now all you see on the trends is everybody crip walking in they khakis, whether you're from the West Coast or not. Everybody understands, right? So if we could come together just like that episode in Malcolm X when they were in front of the hospital, and he said, "What? We will not go until we see him safely out of that window." And all he had to do was what? Put that one hand up and, baby,
He said, "We're not gonna leave until I'm satisfied."
until I am
And then
satisfied.
you know what he did after that, Antoinette?
What?
They tried to pacify him a little bit. You know what he said? He said, "No, I'm still not satisfied."
And but then at that, how they were so calm and so just so strong and just standing there and poised to a T. Now, these men weren't rich, but guess what? That may have been that only suit they wore every month. But guess what? They were together, they were disciplined, and they were organized. And whether they liked each other or not, they supported each other because they knew what the mission at hand was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's why we gotta stop this infighting.
Right, right.
We got to, because I could see today one wants to be bigger than the other. One wants their names in lights and called, and they want to be the one sitting on CNN giving the story. We got to stop
Mm-hmm.
infighting. If it, I know Jamal Bryant has plenty of faults. He does, but so did Malcolm. So did Martin. Excuse me. So did Rosa. Plenty of faults, but when it came to the business at hand, I do believe Jamal Bryant is a wonderful organizer and community activist. I do believe he is. I do. But what propaganda will do is keep us putting him down and discrediting the work that he's doing in the community. That's not just him. There are others who are doing great works. That
Right, right. And let me throw this out there, and then we're gonna pull up this video. The conversation been getting good, y'all. This is a good conversation tonight. So you mentioned a little bit ago about the Asian people uh and being nail techs, right? Sometimes those people can be so rude,
Mhm.
but we'll still keep going back.
I won't. I won't. I have made it my business not.
A lot of people are not like that though, Val.
You're right. And that's another way we need to be supportive of one another.
Exactly, exactly. I am with you 100%. And everybody, there is not one perfect person on the earth. I'm sorry. Everybody has their faults. Nobody's perfect. You know what I'm saying? But I think that a lot of times in our community, we hold people to unrealistic standards. Even though if you are profess to be a believer or a preacher, pastor, whatever, you held to a higher standard, right? But why is it that it's only the church that people can get their feelings hurt but will never go back to the church. But they'll keep going back to everything else.
Come on, Red. Come on, get it in, Jimmy.
And like you said, Jamal Bryant has his faults, just like everybody else. But a lot of people, oh, well, he did this. I can't listen to him no more. I can't follow him no more. David slept with another man's wife and had him killed. You still quote David. You still listen to David. Psalm 23 all the time.
I got my reasons I want to give you.
Moses killed the man. He was a murderer.
Can I tell you why I think people don't want to come back to the church?
Come on.
Because of the white man's Christianity. No, I shouldn't even say it like that.
Yes, you should.
I should say, but yes, because I'm saying I'm changing it up, Antoinette, because I don't think it's the white man's Christianity. I think it's the slave master's Christianity. Now, I don't want to lump all because it ain't all.
Okay.
But it's some. The slave master's Christianity put so many limitations and rules on the church and on what the black church was supposed to represent. Remember, we talked about this. Ain't no such thing as black church in Mexico. Ain't no such thing as black church in London. You just go to church. But the black church has so many rules and restrictions, and the black church has beat people across the head for many generations, JD, of trying to stay within these rules and restrictions, or else you're going to be ostracized from the church. And now, when they see that no one can be held to those type of standards, only the perfect one, which is God, then they're like, no, this ain't real. It can't be. So that's why they don't want to come back. So the church itself has to go through some cosmetic surgery in order for it to be visited like it used to be.
I agree. I tend to agree with that. We got a lot of work to do, and I'm hoping that conversations like these will definitely help it get better. So to kind of reel it back in, time is kind of getting short here. Alabama Church Girl, you sent me this clip, right?
I did.
Do you want to kind of introduce this clip to kind of bring it back in?
All right. First of all, can we give a hand clap of praise for that beard? Y'all know I love a beard.
Oh,
it got my attention, and after I clicked on the video and I listened to what he was saying, I was like, oh, that was real profound. So I will leave it at that and let you hear what he's saying, and you give me your opinion. Please put it down in the comments. Let the congregation say amen.
Amen. All right, here we go.
Now I'm probably going to say some things that I shouldn't, but here it goes, okay? So I'm taking my daughter over to see her grandmother, my mother. And my mom says, hey, let me show you something. I got a new addition to my...
Oh, disclaimer, there is some language in here.
Photo. So I am so pissed off right now. I'm probably going to say some things that I shouldn't, but here it goes, okay? So I'm taking my daughter over to see her grandmother, my mother. And my mom says, hey, let me show you something. I got a new addition to my motorcycle garage. She pulls out this big photo, black and white, of my great-great-grandfather. I say, that's the one from the KKK, right? And she says, yeah. And I was like, he was a cop too, right? That's his police bike, right? That's the bigot piece of shit, right? She's, so I call my daughter over and I say, honey, look at this. See that motherfucker? That dude is a piece of shit. He's a bigot. He wore a white hood, walked around and terrorized people of color simply because they were not white. That is what that person did. And he was a cop. He abused his authority. He's disgusting human. That's who your great-great-great-great-grandfather is. That's him right there in that picture. My mom looked at me with shock. I'm still shaking. I'm so mad. I will not be helping her hang that fucking picture. And I had a very loud conversation with her about it. I cannot fucking believe she would sit there and defend the KKK simply because her fucking grandpa was in the motherfucker. I don't give a fuck. The dude is a piece of shit. Fuck him.
So does he want a cookie? Because, like, let's seriously, like, this, who is this supposed to be? Yay! Am I supposed to break out the pom poms or something?
Well, I will say this, Antoinette. I have shared with my friends that don't look like me. Hey, it's only when you begin to correct your people that don't have the right idea about race that they will stand corrected. So I will give him that he will correct her.
Yeah.
And he will explain to he will explain to his daughter why that wasn't a good idea.
And I get it. However, again, I would still want to know why. Why are you having this discussion on social media right now? And give us a little bit of backstory, because you're just telling us how pissed you are of this one incident. But do you have Black friends? Do you have Black friends?
Listen, with a beard like that, I'm sure he's been introduced to a girl.
I'm sure, because I was like, he look a little posse-won't, you know. So I think Mama done dipped in a little bit herself, the way he looking. However, again, my thing is, you know, we're starting to see all these videos, and yeah, it's nice to see everybody for the team. But at the end of the day, when we're all in the mosh pit and the actual hooded beasts and the uniformed Black and blue come out with their front, are you going to be screaming the same thing? Because it sounds good when you're by yourself in front of the screen. But what are you doing?
And I would say this, I was a little jealous that he knew about the great.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, I can go back to my great grandma. From that point, I know that my dad's family has Haitian heritage. But can I name? Do I have any pictures? I don't. I'm out here searching. I'm about to let them swab my cheek to find me some people to connect to. But you know, like I said, I was a little jealous that I wish I knew.
Well, there's on Disney Plus, real quick, JD. On Disney Plus, there's a documentary. It's The Last Slave Ship, Clotilda, and they talk about it. Literally is the last slave ship that was snuck into Mobile, Alabama, and he lit it on fire, but it just sunk into the waters, right? And they're literally they're taking the boat out now, you know, bit by bit as they can, but they were able to contact the Africans that were kidnapped, the families that are in Mobile right now. So they're one of the only families in America that literally have the connection to the slave ship that their families were brought on into America.
Wow.
Oh, that's so powerful. My heart just began to.
You know, that's amazing that can be traced back. But I want to kind of kind of bring it in just a little bit because our time is running short. Just real quick, you know, a lot of times when you see videos like this on social media, a lot of times, we do question the motives about people that do stuff like this. However, at the same time, uh, I got to give a little bit of a shout out to this brother because a lot of our non-black brothers and sisters wouldn't even do this. You know what I'm saying? And to call it out and to at least say something to the next generation to say, hey, this is what this was, and this is not cool. And this is not what we stand for. This is not what we believe in. And a lot of stuff gets a lot of stuff like that, gets swept up under the rug. And let me just read one of the comments that's pinned up here to the top. This one brother says this is why racist ideology exists because people still condone other people who participated in that behavior and still try to hold them in a big regard. When what they were doing was really not good. And then, a lot of people, wonder why black people get upset with the Confederate flag. And, a lot of people's rebuttal is, well, that's my heritage. Well, do you understand that that's a heritage that oppressed other people's heritage?
And they
Do
did.
you understand that that represents something that didn't want me here? That didn't want me to be, considered a full human being. And I think that when we get to a point to where we can call that out, call this behavior out, and actually point it out and say this is what it is, this is what happened, and it's not cool, and it's not going to be acceptable in our family anymore.
Yeah, but like I said, JD, we have been calling it out for generations. It's when within is being called out from within that change will happen. Because a lot of times, people are not compelled to change until their own community, they are shamed in their own community for their behavior. It's
And they're
just
taught that at an early age. They're embraced by it. And we're one of the only communities that don't teach as strong and passionately as everybody else right now.
Right.
So that's why.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing too that's sad too is that I don't know how old this brother is of the video that we just watched, but he seems like he could be kind of close to our age, and his mother, you know, is still holding on to that heritage of somebody that was in the KKK that terrorized black people, that used his authority as a police officer to terrorize black people. And it sounded like that she was just gonna, just move past the fact that he was in the KKK and did all types of things like that, and just sweep it under the rug. This kind of stuff can't be swept under the rug, even though there might be trauma from it. We talked about that earlier. It's trauma on both sides because a lot of our non-black brothers and sisters are embarrassed that they have family that did that. You know what I'm saying? And they want to hide it. But at the same time, on the other hand, you have people that are still in our organizations, whether it be government, military, or what have you, that still look at black people as less than, and are still practicing, racism. It's just not as openly. You can be a supervisor, you can be a non-black supervisor and have black people working for you and still keep your thumb on them, and use the rule book to do it. But if somebody else non-black, they might get different kind of treatment, and we see it all the time. We know what's up. But shout out to Swaggo Frog. I hope I'm saying that right. Thank you so much for joining us. Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us and for participating in the comment section. Listen, if you have not already, if you are new to the channel and if you are getting value out of this conversation, I promise you somebody else will find value in it too. So please share the video, let people know what we're doing over here. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and please give us a like to help out the algorithm. So y'all, we usually try to do about an hour and a half, and it's Therapeutic Tuesday. We wanted to get some stuff off of our chests. You know what I'm saying? Do y'all feel better?
I do. I
Y'all feel
enjoyed this. Happy Black
Yeah.
History Month to you too.
happy Black History Month to you two lovely ladies and to everybody that's watching. Shout out to everybody down in the chat. I love y'all so much. You know, over the last 2 weeks, we've gotten over 300 new subscribers, and I need every I know, right?
Where is it?
Yeah, we have gotten
Yes.
there it is. We have gotten over 300 new subscribers. So if you're watching on the replay, please give the video a like. Thank you so much for watching the video, and we want to reach 2,000 subscribers by the end of the week. So it's a big goal, but it's our goal, and I think that we can do it. So help us out, and we'll keep coming with the content. We'll keep dropping videos. We'll keep coming live, and we'll keep trying to bridge the gap in our communities to see what we can do, to see if any solutions can be had. You know, because it's going to start back in our Black community in order to get this thing to get it back to how we need it to look. Real quick before we go, Swaggo Frog says, in school I've been learning about segregation and stuff like that. It's hard learning about it. Absolutely, man. It's uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? But it's things that are definitely needed, because a lot of times true healing can't come unless we go through some pain first. You know, if you've ever broken a bone or anything, or dislocated a joint, a knee, or elbow, or finger, or something, you know, you're going to have to go through some pain to set it, right? You have to set it. You have to set that bone. You have to get that joint back in place. And it's going to suck when you do it. But after the pain comes the healing process, you know?
After the pain.
You better sing it. You better sing it. yo, after the pain, you know, here comes the healing process. And after the clouds and the rain, then the sunshine is going to come too. But, yo, Antoinette, do you have something you want to say to the people before we get up out of here?
We're only dealing with a sprain and a hairline fracture, so hopefully we're going for part 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that way we'd rather break the cycle so we can heal and repair instead of continue to deal with this rolled ankle that
There
just
you go.
keeps on rolling and stretching those ligaments. But I digress. I love you all. Again, y'all continue to like, share, subscribe. Drop in, and set a line. Let's discuss.
Absolutely. Alabama Church Girl, you got something for the people before we go?
I have definitely enjoyed this Black History conversation, y'all. It's not often that we get to sit around the table and have discussions like this and we have a let's get real moment. So I
Right.
really appreciate you for allowing us to deviate from our love and relationships conversation tonight and just enjoy the Black History moment. Now, with that being said, I'm sure next week we're going to be back in the love and relations conversation. And I want to say that this is why we cannot keep going around saying Black women ain't, Black men ain't. We can't keep that infighting. We got to learn how to get along.
There you go. There you go. And you know, I think that this is definitely going to help. You know, conversations like this is definitely going to help the love and relationships conversations too. So, but again, if y'all are new, usually we're talking about topics related to love and relationships in the Black community. And with it being Black History Month, we kind of wanted to deviate a little bit from that this week and have this much needed discussion. And we're gonna break away every once in a while and do this some more. So it'll be a part of the regular routine. Every once in a while instead of just Black History Month, because we can study our history every day. You know what I'm saying? But y'all, once again, it's your boy JD, aka Mr. December, for Antoinette and the Alabama Church Girl. Y'all, we out until next time.